This is Steve Walker, Chair. I'll do a roll call to confirm that all members and persons anticipated are present and can hear me. So when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Pete.
Affirmative.
Very good, thank you. Steve.
Affirmative.
Jeff.
Affirmative.
Faith.
Affirmative.
And any staff members? Joe.
Here.
Okay. So it looks like everybody can see everybody, everyone can hear everybody. So in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel and is being conducted remotely. The town of Lunenburg, in response to the COVID-19 coronavirus, is currently following the guidance from the Lunenburg Board of Health, Mass Department of Public Health, and CDC regarding the virus and steps we can take to prevent the spread, and all town facilities, this is weird, are currently closed to the public. In accordance with the governor's orders suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. The order, which you could find posted on the town website on the COVID-19 information page, accessed through the town manager's web page, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless required by law. This meeting at this point will not feature public comment. For this meeting, PAC is convening by video conference via Zoom, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. So I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please wait until your name is called. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you. State your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair. Okay, each vote taken at this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. The way we're set up, we're not expecting any significant votes. So going to the agenda, that was the roll call. Does anybody have any public type comments? As I can see all 6 of you, I'm more than happy to work with you. If you want to say something, put your hand up, okay? So, okay, yeah, Pete.
Have we decided that we're not going to have a regular meeting next month?
I don't know if
I'd rather not. I hate these Zoom meetings. And since there's only 6 of us, there's certainly room for us to meet and follow the right protocols.
Oh, you mean have a real face-to-face meeting?
Yes.
The buildings aren't open. Are they open yet?
They're open with the right protocol.
Yep.
Open with the right.
I would like to hear.
I would like to put, excuse me,
Faith.
the school, the room's not air conditioned, and I would not want to go until it's cooler weather in person.
Okay, Pete.
Well, Faith, Jason and I taped our Talking Baseball show there last Thursday, and we managed to make it through. And that's a performance, not just a little conference. So I think we can survive in September.
Okay.
Yes, just an opinion.
That's true. I'm thinking August, but you're right. It's September. But
Steve,
still,
any comment?
No, my only concern would be the schools are not open yet.
Right, but Tio Pasio's being a town building, I understand, is open with proper protocol.
Right.
Is that correct?
Do
That's
we have,
correct.
is there another place we could meet? Does it have to be at the Passios?
You mean like Larry's Grill?
Yeah, bad Larry's.
I mean, I would be fine just getting lawn chairs and meeting someplace in a field someplace if it's nice. If we do meet in the studio, as long as everybody's willing to wear a mask, I'll be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, if we meet in the studio, as soon as you leave your vehicle, you'll be wearing a mask. While walking through the building, you wear a mask.
Sure.
And Joe, I'm asking by this, would set the room up for the world's biggest conference table, so we're all far, far away from each other.
Sure. Sure.
I'm just curious what
Yes,
your
please.
objection is, Pete, to the Zoom meetings.
Oh, they're horrible. Oh, I'm sorry, Pete, you're supposed to say that.
I don't think they're horrible.
Well, I think
I do.
they stifle conversations. They
Yes.
say you can't see people's faces. Look at these pictures up here. Everyone looks ridiculous, I think.
I kind of think everyone looks good.
Angles of the
Yeah,
camera. I think
this is our natural look.
Yeah.
have you watched any of the selectmen's meetings?
Yep.
And you don't think that's something that you can watch for more than 20 minutes?
I mean, I don't know. I can see everyone's expressions and reactions.
Okay.
I like it better, to be honest. But I mean, I even like my church better in Zoom. So I just like Zoom, but I guess it's personal preference.
My opinion, that's all.
Why don't we plan for September to be at the studio unless anything material changes in the meantime? Would we be okay with that? If we don't
Yeah.
like it, then we can go back to Zoom for the following one.
Well,
Okay.
can we do a hybrid? If people want to show up, they can show up, and if people want to be on the computer, they can be on the computer.
No, that's
That's fine with me.
It's very confusing if it's a mixture hybrid.
Well, I don't think our secretary who's taking the minutes, if he doesn't feel comfortable being face to face with people right now, I think we should go by what he's comfortable doing since he's taking the minutes. And it's going to be hard if we're all wearing masks for him to hear everything we're saying.
Yeah, I do have a hearing problem.
What?
So
Jeff, are you okay face to face, or do you think we should stick with Zoom for one more meeting?
Well, the school committee is meeting Wednesday, and they're going to make the decision about the kids going back to school. So if the committee says online learning, then, let's just meet online. But if they decide to go the hybrid, then we can meet in person. So I don't want to make the decision until, after they make their decision.
Let me suggest an alternate, which is in about 2 weeks' time. This is one of the things we can discuss by email. Let's see what's changed in the meantime, give people a chance to think about it. So Jeff, in about 2 weeks, would you put out an email to the committee and to Joe asking for what makes the most sense given the circumstances of that time? Is that okay?
Yeah. How much time does Heather need for like the Zoom link to set up? Obviously, she was able to do it quite quickly today, but definitely want to give her more time. Is like 2 weeks?
Well, the account
enough?
that we're using today is Steve Melandrinos's account.
Really?
Because Heather's account was tied up with the Parks Commission Zoom meeting.
Well, she has
So-
2 accounts, right?
There's 2 accounts. There is Steve Melandrinos's account and Heather's account.
Oh, I thought Heather had 2 accounts. Okay.
Well, the town has 2.
Oh, the town has 2. Gotcha. Okay. Thank
Right.
you.
Right.
So if you do it in 2 weeks people respond promptly, then you can request the time.
Okay, that sounds good.
The other thing I should mention, as we seem to be on the topic of the next meeting, oh, it says here the next meeting is September the 14th. Is that correct?
Yeah, the 7th is Labor Day.
Okay,
Wow.
that gives us a little more time as well.
Yep.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Any other public type comments? Joe, do you want to go through your report, or would you rather leave it, given that you're telling us there's nothing of import in there, in the sense of we have to make major decisions?
Well, I would like to go through it. I don't have a lot of items,
Okay,
but there should be some things that you're aware of.
so in the agenda, it says June, it should be July.
Correct.
Go.
All right. I will just, I just have about 6 items. We did the graduation ceremony on Saturday. Travis, myself, John Dextrays, and Kevin Bowsam. We met with the principal to do a dry run on the Monday before in the press booth to make sure everything was working correctly. Well, we had made a promise to the principal and to the families that we would live stream the meeting on Channel 8, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And we had a major audio catastrophe. So it did not go streaming out as it was expected. And basically, Travis believes, and I also believe, that there's a problem with the encoder, so we need a new encoder. Basically, we came to that conclusion because the feed from the audio feed to the cameras and the recorder worked fine, but the live stream kept losing audio. It came in, it came out, it came in, it came out. So basically, it was a major failure.
So the live stream audio was going over a wired Ethernet from the press box,
Yes.
not a wireless one.
No.
Okay. How do we know it's the encoder rather than the network?
Well, we don't. It could have been the network. Excuse me. It could have been the network. I'm not exactly sure. We have to look into it.
Okay, would you please do that with Travis?
Yes.
Thank you.
How old is the recorder? The encoder, I'm sorry.
It's probably 5 or 6 years old, and it takes a lot of time for it to connect to HDMI. It takes forever, and it's very clunky. It's very, very clunky.
So will newer ones be quicker?
I would hope so.
How much?
The one we currently have was in the $250 price range. I would have to price out a new one.
I'm good with if it's less than 1,000 to go ahead.
I feel the same way.
Anyone else?
Do you need a motion?
We're trying not to do that because of the situation with setting the meeting up.
Yeah,
Just common
okay.
sense at this point. Anyone else, Peter, up to 1,000, good with you?
Sure.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay, so that's approved.
Okay, the other thing I have is I mentioned last meeting that we're trying to set up the town hall for Zoom hybrid meetings. And the PC has come in. It required graphic cards and all kinds of hardware improvements to make this work. The only thing left right now is we're waiting on some cables. Travis just measured out the size of cables that we need. The monitor will be coming soon, and we'll be ready to test it out. So basically the person calling in from Zoom would be assigned a specific input on the switcher. So they would come up on the monitor in the back of the town hall room for the committee to see and for the audience to see.
And here.
And what?
And here as well.
And on Zoom.
Yes, so the audio is all being linked through properly as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll be running some tests as soon as everything's done. And the
Okay.
cost so far that we've incurred is in the $600 range.
okay.
I don't know how much the computer is. We are gonna have to buy the computer, so I have to find out from Steve how much that is.
Okay,
They're buying the monitor.
So it's a special computer for the Zoom, or the town hall just needs a computer?
It's a special one we're gonna use for Zoom because of the graphics and the, you know, the special requirements for,
Yep.
for putting it up, so. So that's that. Any questions on that? Okay.
Yep. Move along.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said, move along.
Okay. I mentioned this last month as well, that the news is back. Emily, Eric, myself, and Faith are involved in trying to pull together a new and improved community news. Eric's doing quite a bit of work on it, and we've decided to organize it by categories rather than just put up posts from the bulletin, which we were doing before. So this time I provided a clip from the school committee meeting. There were clips from different things around town. So it's going really well. So that's,
Good.
yeah,
Good to hear. Thank you.
yeah.
And Faith, thank you, Faith.
I'm not doing much.
Well, we'll get you doing much. Steve mentioned at the beginning the band concerts aren't happening, but we're putting old ones on Monday nights at 7 o'clock. So those are going well. Steve Walker and myself were researching audio for background music for the stations and for YouTube. We found one in the $7,500 range per year. So we can't vote on it, but that's okay because according to purchasing rules with the town, I need to have 2 other quotes.
Mhm.
So just to let you know, they were going to cut us a deal to not only give us audio, but if we decided quickly on buying their package, they would throw in the video clips for the first year. It's a really good service, but it's really expensive. So I will research get a couple of other quotes. We'll probably miss the deadline for this special deal.
They'll probably honor it anyway if you ask them nicely.
Yes, yeah. So I need to get some more quotes, and that's where we're at with that.
Do you have, sorry, Faith?
Did you speak to any other stations in other towns about what music services they use?
Well, there was information posted on the Mass Access Forum, but I'm glad you brought that up. I need to check with a couple of other stations and make some phone calls or send some emails because I don't know, $7,500 a year is an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
Considering our equipment maintenance and supply line item is 16 grand, we would literally be putting half of that money into audio.
Yeah.
So Joe, if we did this for 1 year and downloaded as much as we could and created our own library and then didn't renew it, we still keep the rights to what we've downloaded. Is that correct?
Yes, in perpetuity. Yes.
Does that mean forever? Right.
Mhm.
I think so. I have to
Yeah.
look it up.
So Joe, if I may add this comment, when you buy a video at the store for $3, it's $3 for personal use. If you buy an educational version, it's like $60, because what you are doing is you're paying all the copyrights
Mhm.
for years ahead of time. Anyone who shows a video in a classroom that they bought personally is actually operating against the copyright rules. So this service being $750, you get to keep the music. It's because you're paying for all the copyrights.
Right, it is
Long time.
actually not $750, $77,500.
I'm sorry, I thought you said $750. I apologize.
I might have said 750, I apologize.
No, that's okay. But that's one of the reasons it could be more expensive. If you get to keep the music, you're paying for 20, 30 years of copyright ahead of time.
And
Right.
that's correct. And this actually is not only worldwide, but as Joe said, it's forever. Once you've downloaded it, it's royalty free. You can use it for any corporate function, corporate being the town of Lunenburg in this case.
Right.
So, but Joe, if you could get another couple of quotes and then we can review everything in the next meeting, I think that would be excellent.
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
And the last thing before I talk finance is the library is looking to do some work with us. Maybe their story time or, you know, some other programs they have going on. I just, you know, doing story time, I can't have the kids on video. You know, I don't know how it's going to work out, but I've traded phone calls with the children's librarian a couple of times, and we still haven't been in touch, but hopefully I'll be able to talk to her tomorrow and see what she proposes for us to do.
Steve, is that another potential copyright issue if the story time person's reading from a library book?
That's a wonderful, I'm trying to think, because the library is allowed to lend out books.
Correct.
The library is allowed to have people come in and they read books to them.
But putting it on a cable network may not be quite the same thing. I'm just
But
asking.
you know what? I would say if you want to do it, do it. And it would be like doing the band concerts, because to be honest, the band concerts, I'm surprised they haven't said anything. Because that music is also, you do not have the mechanical rights to that music, and you're posting it again and again. So I would say this is one of those things where you do it, and then if someone contacts you, you stop. And I believe that's what happened with the music for the community or whatever.
Right.
Someone contacted you when you stopped.
YouTube.
Yeah. I've been told by lawyers and copyright people that the publishers do not want to prosecute. They will contact you, and the best thing to do is say fine and stop, and they'll leave you alone, because they want you to purchase their stuff and they want other people to purchase it, but they don't want to mess you up so that you no longer purchase their products. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in general, they will just say, Lunenburg Public Access, you need to stop. YouTube would do it. You need to stop. And that's how I would handle that.
So your advice is give it a go and hope for the
Give
best?
it a go, because you go on YouTube, there are lots of people reading stories, especially now during the pandemic.
Okay.
So I imagine the rules are a little bit looser, and it depends on the author. The author is the one who has to say no.
Okay.
Okay,
Hey.
that's my advice.
Thank you, Steve.
You know,
Faith.
it's also, we're not selling the product. We're not selling copies of our programming.
That's not the issue. When you read a story and it's on YouTube, all those kids and families who would have bought the book to read are not buying the book. Therefore, the author is not getting their copyright fee.
Okay, I get you.
And it's the same thing if you buy a Disney movie and you decide to show it to the town of Lunenburg, come to my house, I'm having a drive-in.
Yeah.
All those people did not buy a copy.
Yeah. Okay,
So
well,
that's-
one of my first jobs out of college was as a permissions editor for teachers who wanted to do their own textbooks, and I had to write to authors and get their permission to use their articles, journal articles and whatever in a teacher's textbook. And if worse comes to worse, we could always ask permission of the author to use it.
At this point with libraries, I would just do it. And then if someone makes a comment or a concern, then you just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
any
mean, for
further comment?
example, the night before Christmas, how many times have you heard that read? And even at the Boston Pops, they do the night before Christmas.
Yeah, and they have paid the mechanical and audio rights.
All right.
In the studio that I work with, he has to purchase all of those rights ahead of time for all the concert music that the kids do, so that he can make a CD and distribute it. So the Boston Pops, they take care of that. They have licensing people. So Joe, just, do it. And, just like with the YouTube on the music, they'll contact you and say you can't do it. And you say, okay.
Yeah. I just want to make sure the environment is safe for children where I'm not getting their faces.
Right.
And, thank you for the input on the story. That's good to know. But if I can't create something that's child friendly,
Right.
I'm not gonna do it. But I'm waiting for a call back from her. We've been playing phone tag.
Would it be better to have the storyteller come into the studio and not have children?
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh.
That would be fantastic.
Or I couldn't sit on the rug and listen. I'd never get up again.
That's not even slightly funny. I have the same problem.
No, it's
I'm not
sad.
laughing.
Okay, Joe, finances.
Okay, that's it for that. I do want to make one more mention about Talking Baseball. I was looking on the Mass Access database, and there's now 17 towns downloading Talking Baseball.
Wow.
Wow, you're getting famous.
Congratulations, Pete.
What I can't believe is there's two cities in New Jersey watching it.
In New Jersey.
Wow.
In New Jersey. That's Yankee territory, and we're not kind to the Yankees.
No.
No.
They're probably throwing things at the television like beer and things.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, actually 18 if you add an FATV in Fitchburg. So that's
great.
good.
Cool.
Um,
That's good. Thanks, Pete.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
You
Yeah.
should watch the last show. One show he just did was terrific.
Yeah.
In the studio too.
Yeah, it came out great. Finances. I was working on FY20 up until about a week ago, just to make sure that all of everything was posted and on there, and it was finally. So actually, if I can do a screen share, it might be easier to just to see.
There it is.
Good grief.
So this was, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you
No, I
click
can
on it,
just,
You need to open it though.
yeah. We can,
Open.
Yeah.
I can see
Double click.
your index.
Damn light.
What, double click what?
the budget.
Can you see it?
No,
See
we
your
see-
file list.
yeah.
Deb, can you change this screen so it's facing the other way? Because it's light in my eyes.
Still can't see it?
No,
It hasn't opened. The file hasn't opened yet.
Oh, because it's open on my computer.
Oh,
Okay, not here yet.
All right, let me see if another,
the way. What is?
Can you see that?
No.
No,
All right, for some reason, it's not, okay, let me just read off some numbers then, just so we can,
you sent us the reports, right?
yes, the reports that I had sent.
Okay,
So I had been working on FY20 to close that up, and it turned out that our closing balance for 2020, FY20, sorry, is $749,864.95. So that closed out, and without, I may have to update these financial spreadsheets because I still have the Comcast Tech Fund listed separately. So the actual, the ending balance without the Comcast fund, did we roll that into the regular fund at one of the town meetings, Steve?
Roll what into the regular fund?
The undesignated fund?
Yeah, at the moment, we've only, well, it's difficult to tell some of the time, but at the moment, we're really running out of one fund, even though Karen may have separated logically internally. But we only have the one enterprise fund right now.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
I have them listed separately on the spreadsheet, so maybe I'll go back and put them all of it into one.
Well, one thing we wanted was to keep the Comcast revenue line separate from every other income line so that we could keep track of what Comcast payments to us are in case they start going down because of cable cutting or people reducing service. That was why we wanted them separate. Does that make sense?
yep.
Yes.
So for us, we want one line that says Comcast franchise fee and another line that says other income, which can be interest, and it can be Pete buying copies of a CD to send out to all his friends with his program on it.
Okay. So basically the cash, ending cash for FY20, not including the Comcast technical fund or the undesignated fund, was 582, 568.94. That's
Okay.
582,568.94.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, so that became the starting balance when I started the FY21 budget. There was no expenses for July other than my salary and the videographer's payroll, which,
But the starting balance needs to be the 750,000 because if we start spending capital, then it'll be coming out of that. One of the problems we've got is because the town meeting warrant was not done the way we had asked and thought we had agreed. It only did operations expenses, didn't do any capital expenses.
correct.
That warrant item was missing. That's going to be put back in November is the intent at the moment. But as a result, that means our starting point needs to be the 750 and treated as a unified fund.
Okay, then what I need to do is, go back and remove, redesign the spreadsheets, basically,
Going forward, not
forward.
not
Okay,
not for 20, for
No.
FY21.
correct. Okay, then I will update those spreadsheets, but
If you would do that, I'd be very happy. Thank you.
sure, I can do that. So anyway, there were only two expenses this month. The bills for the town hall hybrid Zoom equipment, PC cables, etc., has not been paid yet. So this month we only had 2 line item expenses. And I sent those reports to you. There's nothing out of the ordinary about those.
I got them, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Were there any questions on those, or?
I think Steve fell out of his chair. Anybody have questions for Joe? Hearing none under the circumstances, I don't think we should make a motion to approve. That should be carried over to the next meeting.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Steve, you good with that? Thank you.
He passed out.
Okay. The other item on the agenda is the TCP building reuse architect. I got an email from him asking to meet with me. Independently, Joe got a request from him as well. I have not been contacted by the building reuse committee. I sent an email to Greg Roy, is that the right name, Joe?
Yes.
The chairman. I haven't had a reply from him asking for any documents. I did get one back from the architect, which was copied to him, saying there weren't any documents. In fact, I looked at the last 2 meetings on YouTube, thank you, Joe, of their meetings. I cannot find anywhere how to even join their meetings as a member of the public. They have one agenda up for last April. I haven't seen any others. I haven't seen any minutes.
I thought I saw the meeting. I thought I watched it on one of
Yeah,
our
you can
stations.
watch it, but joining it live,
Oh,
you need the Zoom link, and I'm not seeing that published anywhere.
oh, okay.
So this
I
is
noticed though on the map that we have here that you sent us, that it looks like we're moving across the hall to where the superintendent's office currently is, and
well, that's actually left over from the old
oh,
building reuse committee.
oh, okay.
They've told me there are no documents. So what I did is I watched 2 of their meetings, and I took screenshots of some of the documents which I'm told don't exist. So these are just paper at the moment.
Uh-huh.
That's the building document. That's a screenshot.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at on my phone.
So that's one that I got. The other is the spreadsheet. Both of them seem to have problems. But right now, building reuse has not contacted any of us that I'm aware of. So what I did is I took the old documents that we've done on 3 or 4 different. Oh, congratulations! You got back in your chair. Thank you, Steve.
Yes, sorry about that.
We were afraid you fell off.
No, I
ran out of beer.
No, it was an important phone call that I had to take
Of
real
course.
quick. So
If
I
any of us,
apologize.
if we have to do that, we have to do that. Thank you. So what I did is I took a variety of documents that we produced in the past, including the 10-year business plan that we did for the Cable Advisory Committee for the Comcast contract. I put it all together and I sent it out to all of you. I don't know if anyone had a chance to review it. I would like to go through it very quickly and ask each of you that if you have comments, do them section by section. So I'll do one section at a time. You can also email me comments, because right now this is a conversation between Joe, me, and the 2 architects, the engineering architect and the overall architect.
Okay.
So I gathered a bunch of assumptions, and this is where we're going to run into trouble straight away because nobody has asked us about these, and the assumptions being made by building reuse and the architect are not the same as these. So going through them very quickly: shared reception with the town for normal hours, direct public access out of hours. We need access for any time, day or night, we have people coming in.
Right.
Looking for we need a cable drop there. So some of this will be too much of them to handle, but I would rather they see that we're well prepared and just put it out there and they can cherry pick from it the level that makes sense for them. So in the main reception area for the town, all the town buildings, I would love to have 3 TVs showing our 3 TV channels. Seems like it would be nice. Town provides co-located meeting rooms with video and audio connectivity. And I'll get more into that one. Our space needs to be secure at all hours and separate from the town space. So our whole space is controlled access. All studio and control spaces are interconnected with accessible conduit. That means there's something we can open without drilling holes in walls, add cables as necessary, shut it up again. We need equipment access both in and out of the studio area, 3 CPU for instance. A special one for Faith. Are you listening, Faith? This is
I'm
very
listening.
important. Secure parking, garage preferred, and we have not included that in the space. Okay? And for staff, they have us down, I think as one, oh, they have us down as 2 staff. My problem is we have multiple volunteers who are going to need working space as well. So they've got that one wrong as well. Anyone have any comment on assumptions? Feel free to email them as well if they, because this is a rather quick way of doing it. Okay, main studio, 1,000 square feet. That's essentially the size of the whole room we've got at the moment. That would just be the studio. Needs power, air conditioning. It would be a multifaceted studio. So when you point one way, it looks like green screen. Point a different way, it looks different. The one in Acton has been set up that way. It's very nice. We need quiet neighbors inside and out. That one's going to cause trouble. We would like north windows or no windows.
None.
If we have windows and they're facing south, which is what the present picture shows, we're going to have to black them out. Otherwise, we can't manage green screen properly, let alone general studio. And high ceiling preferred was one that I added. If we're going to put pipe work up there, which is the standard hanging matrix to put lights on, and even microphones and things from time to time, there needs to be enough height to do that. Any questions? We would like an interview studio of 100 square feet with air conditioning. So that's really where somebody is sitting down with 1 or 2 other people. May actually work well for the baseball show, I don't know. But when we get closer, we'll get more into the design of these things. I'm laying out some principles.
Is that with the main studio at 1,000 plus 100 square feet, or?
Yeah, that would be a separate studio.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I'd like us to have the ability to do is more than one thing at once.
Right.
Okay. And then the third studio, you forgot to ask about that one, Steve.
Well, we weren't there yet. We were on the interview studio.
I know.
That's right.
I'm just kidding you. So the kitchen studio, 250 square feet, multi-use, needs both electric and gas service. There's another interesting problem for the architects. Needs water and drainage. Needs sprinklers. I don't know if they're going to sprinkle the entire place or what the deal is. would need exhaust fans and would need air conditioning. Okay?
Excuse me?
Yes.
Why do we need a kitchen?
So we can do a proper kitchen show with stoves, fridges, tables, mixers, that kind of thing. We're seizing the opportunity to be able to set this up.
Yeah, other stations that we've been to,
Yeah.
they have their kitchen areas and they do cooking shows, and it's very popular.
Okay, Pete?
Okay, it doesn't seem much demand for it, that's all.
Well, there may not
Right.
be as much demand for a baseball show, but we still have one going.
Well, there
Whatever
is-
demand there is, we will do. A lot of women,
On our own channel. We've only done one kitchen show, and that was with Mario's show.
Right. But
Okay.
having,
if we
It
had
got a lot of
kitchen,
views.
if we had a kitchen set up, we might get more volunteers of people who would be willing to demonstrate recipes. And it wouldn't be at someone's home, which is kind of intrusive. It would be in the studio, and I think more people would opt to do a show that way.
You know, it's just, sorry to interrupt. It's not just a cooking show. I mean, it would be used as a kitchen. And if we're doing, let's say, networking, we could have, you know, food available. If we're doing training, we could have food available. You know, it might not get a tremendous amount of use, but it would get use.
So you'd also need freezers and refrigerators,
yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
garbage disposal.
I did not put the wet bar in that I wanted to because I knew that would run into trouble. Okay. A voiceover studio. I don't remember which one we went to, Reading or somebody, had a very nice, well soundproofed 50 square foot. It probably wasn't even that big, actually.
It was
It was
small,
like
but I
a-
think it was Reading.
Yeah, okay. And it was like a telephone
Yeah.
kiosk. Very well soundproofed, had a very high quality mic, which you can do when you need to do voiceovers. Very small amount of space.
Yeah.
Okay. It needs to be soundproof. One thing that isn't clear to me is things like soundproofing can be built in when you do the construction, or it can be added afterwards. If it's built in during the construction, I'm hopeful that's part of the overall expense of the building. If it's added afterwards, likely that'll start nibbling away at our studio equipment budget.
Mhm.
Okay, master control room. I've had to change a couple of things in here. When we originally put this together, Bilotto was still the principal meeting room, and the town hall was where the cable drops came in for our upfeeds. That's not going to be the situation when TC Passios all comes together. So the master control room supports all the studios. So it's the one place where you can access all of them. 200 square feet, has either direct sight or electronic view of each of the studios, soundproofed so that if the people running that are talking, it's not overheard into the studio, which is not our present situation. But now it includes the Comcast access points and the equipment that's at the town hall at the moment.
Carl,
Sorry,
if I may ask,
please.
there's a meeting in the conference room. Will the studio have access to the conference room at TCP?
Yes, but I will get to that shortly, I think.
Okay,
I've got another page on that one. I'll get to it, but thank you.
okay, thank you.
Yeah,
It's actually very important with how this comes together. Faith.
Every single studio that I've seen, every cable TV place I've been to, at minimum has a control room and a studio. Like Clinton was very small, but it had
Right.
a large studio and a large control room. Fitchburg has a huge control room.
Right.
And I've been to, and even the one in Sterling that we went to, you know, the different places. Obviously, some of the places are cushier, like Reading, and we went to Wakefield. They have a beautiful configuration, but
Yeah.
we're just looking for, this is an important room to have.
Right. So I've added in there two things. One, it needs equipment level air conditioning. So despite the fact now lighting is going to be LED rather than fluorescent, incandescent, or even acetylene, which we probably shouldn't be using nowadays. So it needs air conditioning with a sufficient load capability that all the equipment that we're having to run is kept at a reasonable temperature. Problem we've run into at the town hall already. And listening and looking at the diagrams, it turns out there is the potential for near non-interruptible power. So there is a big generator at TC Pasio's which runs certain circuits. Like typically it would be enough to run the boilers and put on enough lighting through the corridors that people can get out there. So by this, I'm asking for uninterruptible power. Most likely they won't be able to give us uninterruptible, but they will be able to give us power that starts up automatically within a few seconds. So what we would do is put on a small battery powered non-interrupt that like we have at the town hall. So our cable feed and the equipment running it can run for, should we say, a couple of minutes, typically it'd be half an hour, so that when the uninterruptible power comes in, the generator comes in, it takes over from our battery powered one and keeps our cable system running. That would be typical of a cable head end. Making sense?
Yep.
Wow. I mean, oh good, sorry. I mean, when I put this together, you have no idea how many single malts I had to have. Okay, green rooms. We need two of them, one each, male, female, but they need plumbing. And I put them in at 100 square feet each. An equipment room, by this, not a live equipment room. This is where we have storage, we have repair, we have a battery charging station, and where we do the lending management. So if a member of the public comes in and wants to borrow a camera, and even our volunteer videographers who are now employees, when they come in, we have a place where we can log things in, log things out, check them out, and have a whole rack of battery chargers so we can keep everything charged up.
Yeah, the Sterling cable TV had a very nice.
Oh,
room
I've
for
stolen
that.
a lot from the places we've been to, haven't I?
Yeah.
Peter? Not
Yeah.
making all this up. A reception area, 24-hour access, and has a waiting area. I haven't put space on that because that may well be out in a corridor, and this is where the architects have to get back to us. But what I want to do is give the architects what we're looking for and let them worry about it. 3 rooms for either editing or training, so they're multi-purpose 100 square foot rooms so that people can come in, use editing equipment. People can be brought in who need training in editing and things like that. An archive, and this is a question, I've only got 100 square feet for it, but essentially we're using YouTube as our archive now, aren't we, Joe?
We have, well, yes, we have YouTube as a backup, but I also have external hard drives. I just filled up a 4 terabyte for the last couple of fiscal years.
Okay.
And I just added a new one for FY21 that's got 5 terabytes.
So I'll leave that there and they can decide what to do. But I said 100 square foot, said air conditioned, but I also said climate control. That's beyond air conditioning. It means management of things like relative humidity.
Moisture.
Yeah. Okay. Staff offices. Joe's been waiting patiently for me to mention this. I put 2 in at 100 square feet each. I don't know how that is going to work out if we have 2 part-time people for our second approved position. Whether we actually need 3 or 2 people share an office and Joe has an office. But anyway. So then, Steve, I also put down town meeting rooms.
Okay,
I put not pack space. So I've set these up as the town creates them, and I think they're in the plans various ways. And I said there was a regular one. I was just scaling these, so it's whatever the architects want. 6 members of whatever committee is meeting and 6 members of the public. But the only bullet that really matters is permanent access for video and audio. And
right.
then I
You
put a
don't have to
large,
set anything up. Just plug it.
right. And in fact, the Acton one has some absolutely delightful remote controlled cameras that they can put in. So one person can run the whole show from a control room. And the point of having all this together and the point of having the accessible conduit is that we can hook this stuff up and leave it set up, because hopefully the town offices will be properly secured, you know, unlike leaving it in a classroom at the high school.
Right.
Okay. I said a large one, 12 members on the committee and 30 members of the public, they're the same thing. The only point I'm trying to make, permanent access for video and audio. And whatever they're putting together, I want this said early in the game so they're not surprised later on.
Right.
So as I look at the diagram, there's a hearing room in the old cafeteria,
Yeah.
Yep.
conference room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it doesn't say any other area, but there's 2 conference rooms in the wing, 2 smaller ones. So that's
Right.
why, as they do these larger areas, there needs to be the line, the wires or whatever, the hookup, or the ability to hook up to get to your main studio.
Exactly.
Yep.
What I don't know, and we're not in control of, is just how many conference rooms are going to exist that the public will have access to. How
Okay.
many are just internal ones, like finance probably wants their own, the town manager wants her own, that kind of thing.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
So the bullet point is there to say, I don't give a damn how many of these you put in. Make sure we can reach them.
Right.
Okay. So
A
that's
lot easier before they finish.
sorry.
It's a lot easier before they finish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll wait until they've just finished skimming the last plasterboard, and then we'll say, by the way,
Well,
Then-
Steve,
yeah,
it looks
right.
like you put a lot of thought and work into it, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure the other members of the committee do too.
Well, thank you for that. The architect is also saying, wants to talk about vision, priorities, and potential challenges and barriers. I have nothing to put in there at this point, because I believe our space requirements represent to a great extent vision. When they tell us what they can and can't do, then we will be able to go in and do priorities. If the, you know, if the kitchen doesn't get done to begin with, I understand that. We'll just have to see, but in the absence of any information from the TC Pasio's Building Reuse Committee and from the architects at this point, I have nothing. So
Are they looking for like a vision statement of what we expect that space to be, or? what do they
I
look
was
like?
given 4 words,
Oh.
which is vision, priorities, and the challenges.
I mean, because I would think something like a fully accessible space that can be used by the community and town government to maximize information to the town members or something like that, you know, some kind of general statement of what we
But-
want this to be.
Yeah,
Having
but-
done a
but-
little bit with the new high school, they're looking at what are you planning in the future? What's your vision of that studio? What is it going to be doing so that we can incorporate whatever, not equipment, but building material so that when you go to do it, you don't have to tear the wall out and rebuild the wall. It's
Yeah.
already there. And that's what the conduits, you're talking the conduits connecting everything, AC, the power. So you're already talking that kind of stuff. The kitchen is a vision thing. The voiceover studio, I think the architects are looking for, you know, in 10 years, we would like to have a garage so we can do a tool time show.
Oh,
That would be a vision.
what about the boat building show?
You know, I think that's what they're looking at.
Right.
Your philosophy, the architects probably don't give much of a hoot for, because they're being paid to design an environment.
That's
Mhm.
correct.
They want to know, well, it's like if you're remodeling, you know, you can't all of a sudden go, oh, by the way, I need the wall moved 4 feet. I forgot, you know,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I want to put a couch, you know, whatever. So they're looking for, what is your vision for what you want to do? So they make sure that they include the physical stuff that you need that will help you with that vision. And I think with the voiceover studio, the kitchen, the AC, Steve, you've done a great job in listing what each room needs,
Yeah.
because you've been thinking about this vision for a long time.
Mhm.
And so you're already including a lot of that. A lot of people go to these things and go, I don't know, you know, I need a kitchen. It has to have a refrigerator in it.
I want them to understand this isn't casual. We put a lot of thought into
Right.
this with the previous work.
And you have.
Thank you. Faith, if I can just address what you were talking about, that is not a PAC problem. The access to such a handicap accessible, blah, et cetera, is a problem for the building reuse committee and all the various people.
Right.
Our piece of it is the damn hole in the wall we can put cables through.
Mhm.
Okay.
Soundproofing. Soundproofing.
But I think,
Yeah.
I was just saying fully accessible because we want the community to be involved. It's not just
Absolutely.
the staff. So
But it's not us.
I know it's not us. The architects are going to have to make things accessible anyway.
Actually,
required by law.
the building reuse committee have got to define things to make sure that happens.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm asking the committee at this point is, if you look at the document I sent out, feel free to add bullet points and send them to me. And I would also like the committee to approve that Joe and I meet with the architect with your approval. And this is the basis of our discussion.
I
So,
so move.
Under challenges and barriers, though, again, if we're not talking about accessibility,
we're not.
under potential challenges, I think having, or this might be vision, where we had talked about having a van and then having that van with all the camera equipment be secure.
Right. That's in the assumptions, correct.
That's
That's,
top, yes.
well, I don't remember reading about the van, but I know it's in our, we've been talking about it for a long time, and secure parking. So
Right. So that's in there in the assumptions, not part of the space, but it is a requirement we want that we have a secure parking space for one vehicle. Yeah.
yeah,
And I don't think it'll hurt if you just threw out, and you're going to make everything accessible to everybody.
yeah,
Right.
Just, I'm sure they're thinking of it, but just remind them or
Right.
make it more fresh in their memory.
yeah. I mean, our doorways to the studio have to be wide enough for wheelchairs and things like
Correct.
that.
But again, that's an architect problem, because doing this, you have to be ADA compliant.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's not a choice they have. That's what they're being
They have
paid
to do it. Yeah, okay.
But you're right. I don't mind mentioning things more than once if it hammers it home to them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it just says potential challenges and barriers, which is why I brought
Right.
that up. I think we need to put in a bullet point there, you know, accessibility to wheelchairs.
actually, what I put in the assumptions is ADA compliant.
Yep. Well, it wouldn't hurt to put it down there too, you know,
Yeah.
challenges and barriers.
So is the committee as a whole, by raising hands and nodding heads, okay if Joe and I meet with this architecture via Zoom?
Yes.
See,
Affirmative.
Pete, Faith,
Affirmative.
Jeff,
Yes.
me. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. Joe. Oh, you're not on the committee. So. Okay. Anyone have anything else to add? We presently have an email going out in a couple of weeks' time, maybe 3, for the structure of the next meeting, which is scheduled for September the 14th.
Mhm.
In which case, I will entertain him.
Excuse
Oh,
me?
Pete's got his hand up. Yes, Pete.
Just a question, a
Sure.
thought for Joe. Joe,
Yes.
Yes,
you've been talking about the library story hour.
yes.
For years, the elementary school had a day where the public came in and read to the kids. And
Yes.
the police chief would come in and the selectmen would come in. Debbie
Yeah.
and I both did it often. How about a show called Story Hour? And just have people come in and read stories, and play it for a month.
That would be great. That would be great.
You wouldn't have to rely on any particular people, just anyone would come in, bring the story in. And as far as I understood it, once a story is 54 years old, it loses its copyright. So any of the old stories that you might read from the old days that there's no problem with sharing them like that. Like you don't have to pay copyright to Shakespeare or Mark Twain.
Yeah.
I like that idea. That
You're
sounds
more
great.
than 45 years old?
Mm.
54, right?
I think it's 54.
Okay. I thought it was 75 and renewable by the family and the things like that. So there's weird stuff out there. I like Steve's approach. We will try it carefully, be smart. If we're told to stop and they have reason for it, then we stop.
Yeah, there's some things in public domain that,
Of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
right.
Winnie the Pooh or something like that. It's no problem.
yeah.
Okay, so at this point, I will entertain a motion
Move to adjourn.
Second,
seconded by Pete. Jeff, can you please get the minutes put together and get them all 3 ready for the next meeting?
Well, will these just go on to the September's meeting?
Yeah,
What I wrote down tonight?
right. And the previous 2, we need minutes for those. We can't use Zoom or YouTube for our minutes. We have to have written ones. That's the legal record.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate your help. Thank you, everybody.
night.
Thank you.
Have a
Good
good
luck with
week.
your meeting.
Press the button, Joe. Kill it.
How do I kill it, Deb?